So I wanted to share with you a personal experience that I had on in 1995 or 1996 with potentially a Laylatul Qadr. This night is a very important night, and it's called the Night of Destiny because it is not only better than 1,000 nights, but it is the night where the decree of our destiny for the next year is sealed. What will come our way, what we will experience, it is all decided and written on this day for the next year. So many Muslims devote this night for praying and asking for forgiveness. As the Prophet's tradition says, whoever prays during the night of Qadr with faith and hoping for its reward will have all of its previous sins forgiven. So my personal story is that I had just finished my master's degree in England and came back to Turkey. I had studied conflict analysis. This was such a new field that I had no idea what to do next. I had nothing planned. I had no vision of what was to come next. So I was kind of lost and I did not know what I wanted to do. So I was living in Istanbul, and next to my apartment lived my father's great uncle, who, like my grandmother, was raised by my great-grandfather, who was a famous Islamic scholar and a student of tasawwuf. So we used to get together every evening, especially during the Ramadan, to talk about poetry, tasawwuf, or other things that were sort of relevant. And one of the things we liked doing was to talk about our dreams, but the dreams that we had, not only about what we would like to achieve in life. Also, my grandmother, who had passed on by this time, was known for dream interpretation. So as a family, we always still, with my sisters and brothers, love to share our dreams. So I remember this was during one of the, towards the end of Ramadan in that year. And I had this dream while I was constantly occupied with what to do next. And so it was a strange dream in the sense that I was walking down this cobbled street. And on both sides of these streets were these religious buildings from different traditions, mosques, churches, Jewish temples, Hindu temples, and many others. And they all looked like they were in a state of decay because of something had happened. I don't know what had happened, but it was this sense of desolation. So, but as I was walking towards the end of the road, and I was sort of helping all these temples and mosques and churches to be rebuilt. And as there I was walking by, and they were helping others with me, this bright light was starting to shine, and I could see people from these temples were coming out, and they looked happy as they were walking out. They had relaxed faces, they were shaking their hands, talking to each other. Trees suddenly started growing, flowers started blooming, the sky was getting brighter and bluer, and I can remember still the scent of the jasmine trees. And so I was really sort of didn't know what to do with this dream. It had not occurred to me anything that would it was very different in many ways. So I told my great uncle. He said that he told me about the night of Qadir, and that was one of the possible nights that year could have been the night of Qadir. And I explained how our destinies are written that year, and that we don't know which day it is that this special night is. But, and the reason for this, he would tell me that, so that we would not feel comfortable and spend just prayer on that night, but we would pray any other night that would think that it would be the night of Qadr. So when I told him about this dream, he said that, I think if this is the Qadir night dream, because we didn't know if it was true or not, that was the day. He said, I think you're going to do something with religion, working with different religions. And by that time, it didn't make any sense because I had no plans of working on religion or different religious traditions. So things happened in a very unusual way that I ended up doing my PhD with a professor called Abdulaziz Said, who was an amazing, or who still is an amazing pioneer. He was a founder of the conflict resolution program at American University, but he was also in 1995, 1996, he founded Islamic Chair for Peace at American University, which was never heard of. And he wanted me to come and be an assistant, a researcher, and work with him in this area. I had never heard of this area. And somehow I started working, and my path took me to do interfaith dialogue, religion, and peace building. I work with Muslim women peace builders from around the world, but I had never thought this was a possibility. And I could not, but I've never forgotten that dream and that day, because it just left such a remarkable sort of imprint on my my personal experience. And then it did happen the way sort of my great uncle had told me. And so that was something that I always take it very personally, that I sort of like to devote that day for asking for forgiveness and praying and hoping for the year to bring many wonderful opportunities for me and all the world. Thank you.